Welcome to this final video for the old Expression Web textbook, tutorial number 3 with the website or web page called the Slightly News Hour. I'm going to assume that you have worked up to this point, and I'm going to open the website again. Remember, as I'll say forever, as long as I do videos for this course, never ever get into Microsoft Office mode and choose File Open. I promise you'll have difficulties with it. Do not use this. You want to go to the Site menu, choose Open Site, find where your site happens to be. I'm not at your house, so I don't know where yours is, but I'll browse my computer. I happen to know where mine is, and I happen to know the name of mine, so I'll scroll down here to get to it, and there it is. When the folder itself is staring me in the face, you click the Open button, which puts it in this original dialog box. Click Open again, and you'll find the folder that contains your tvnew.htm web page. I'll open that, and you may remember this hopefully from the previous video if you've been watching the videos faithfully. And if you've been doing this on your own, that's fine also. We're going to look at two concepts. I'm on page 158 in your book, and we're going to look at inline and external styles. Basically, what's happening here, an inline style is actually something that is not done that much. If you've got an area and you've got special containers that we call them, you're not looking at code very much in this class, but you have sections of web pages that are coded behind the scenes as with a tag called div for div, stands for division. You sometimes will see li, which means a list, and in Word you might see this as a bulleted list or a numbered list. You'll see p for paragraph, which you see more often in this situation. Typically, if you want to format a small area, like you're wanting something to stand out, it could be something as simple as bolding or italicizing, which they call strong for bold, or em for italics. And you can also use this within a class, and we dealt with classes and IDs in the previous video, in the earlier part of this chapter. And what we're actually going to do is have a code set up right here. We're going to style it in a moment, and it will look like this. It will have the word span and the end tag span set up for you. Again, slow the video down, pause it, rewind it, replay it as necessary. Even though the book on page 159 says to go to the code button, which you can do, rather than have you have all code, which sometimes scares some students, I'm going to choose the one that says split. Either one will work. So again, if you're a very exact words kind of person with the book, please don't panic. Some students at CCC are very common, some very much panic. I'm going to click in the code based on step 2 where it says in the first paragraph, welcome to the home page, and if you can see welcome to the home page right here. If I were to select this in the design section of this split view, you'll see it up here in the code as well. So you've got the general area. It's right below the two big headings. And if you'll click right in front of the word home, just click your mouse, whether you do this on the design page or the code page, is perfectly okay. You're actually going to type within the code and not within the design. You're going to type the word span, surrounded, step 4, by these special tags, the less than, greater than symbols. Now again, you want to make sure that you're typing this in the code section, not in the peach box. Be careful about that. You don't want it to say, welcome to the span homepage span. That makes no sense. You want it inside the code. Now when you type this in, your computer does like a lot of cell phones. It tries to help you type and spell, and you'll see this little end tag pop up. It's trying to help you. It's a special feature of a lot of computers and mobile devices called Intellisense, which is trying to intelligently sense what you're typing. Just take this end tag out, backspace it off, and go to the past the word page, and then you can type the end tag, step 7, with the less than symbol, the /, the word span, not spam like the meat or like the junk mail, but span with an N. When you finish this, it will look like, in case you're having trouble seeing this on the video, it will look like this guy right here. The word homepage is surrounded by the words span, and the end tag is saying the words surrounded by the word span are going to have some kind of special feature. They may be a different color, it may be blinking words, some kind of enhancement or attention grabber will be there. Now we have to define what that is, because if you notice, nothing's happened fancy in the design page. It's not like ta-da and something's happened. We have to define a condition there. So in order to do that, we've got to find in step 10 the style application toolbar. So we're going to select the word home page. I'm going to go back to design view, select the home page words, like as if you were going to do this in Microsoft Word. Just select them with your mouse and then go to the view menu. And again, don't worry about exact words with the book because you're going to have to go by the fact that you have a very old book and newer software. Go to view, and under the toolbars, toward the end of the toolbar list, you'll see something called style application. Go ahead and click that, and you'll see a style toolbar that will come up that has the word target rule in front of it. Turn to page 160, and to create this style that we're going to use, we're going to click the style application arrow, that little application arrow right there, and your book says it will have the word manual there. It actually will not. You're going to click where it says target rule, and you're going to choose apply new style right there. So when you click apply new style, you've seen this dialog box before. It should look very familiar to you by now. And the default is going to be new style right there. What we'll do right here is go to the very first item in the list and choose the word inline style. Now the little period will not be there. Just inline style in parentheses, you're okay. Step 5, we're going to change the text transform in this particular category to uppercase and make it a green color. And you can choose green either by typing in the code, or you can choose the third color in the first row, and that will give you that little hexadecimal code 008,000, and that will take care of it for you. The preview of the style will be down here at the bottom. It will be capital letters with green. Notice that home page has been selected over here in the design view. When I click OK, you should see the words change to a green color. So I'll click OK right there. And notice what happens. This may be hard to see. Hopefully you can see it. The home page words are now capitalized and they're green letters. If I look at the code by splitting the view that you see, you'll notice that it says span, and now it says style equals text transform uppercase color green. So that tag and the end tag which surrounds the word homepage says that the words home and page will have this application or this enhancement done to it. And this will take care of it for you. Alright? And don't worry about that manual auto thing that's on the next page on 162. You don't have to worry about that now because you've taken care of this inline style. And that's it for the inline style. It's not used that often, but it's just the book wanted to expose you to it, I guess, in the case of the author, Mr. Bojack. Now, the big application for all this CSS external style sheet business is in the next section on page 162, where it talks about creating an external style sheet. Basically, the way this works, typically websites are gigantic and people just can't type massive amounts of code all the time. So what will happen is an external style sheet will be created. I will try to illustrate this for you as visually as I can. You'll see right here where I've got a little diagram where I've got an external style sheet. It may say make all the pages have a blue background, make all the pages have a certain font, make all the paragraphs be double spaced. And you can apply the sheet to as many web pages as you want to in your site. It could be 104 pages instead of 4 pages. And the beauty of it is, let's say you wanted to make a change to the website to all the pages. If you had to do this to every page individually, this could be very tedious. So what you do is you make the change to the CSS, the cascaded style sheet, and then everything changes automatically because you have a special little code in there that says use the external style sheet to handle it. And that's something people just have to learn by practice and not just by doing what the book says. A lot of people do play these books like recipes. They click what the book says and says, "Dear Father in heaven, please make this work so it looks like Mike's site so I make an A." And then when they finish the assignment, they turn in, they make an A. They don't really know what they've done. They've only followed some directions, kind of a monkey see, monkey do thing. We're going to create an external style sheet starting on page 164, and it will be a separate sheet altogether from the web page. I'll pull this back in design view and give you an idea how this works. On step 1, page 164, this time you will click File and you'll click New, and we're going to choose the option that says CSS, Cascaded Style Sheet, and you'll get just a blank screen. You have not lost your original one, it's just under another tab It's perfectly safe. And right now, because it hasn't been saved yet, it's called Untitled. Now you need to type this stuff very, very carefully. I have seen over a number of years of teaching web design courses, people will make mistakes in their typing. And what I will do is if I remember to do this within recording this video, I will transfer this code to a Word document and make it larger so you can see it. Just look at number 2, and you're basically going to be typing exactly what it says on there. The first part is just a comment statement that is not going to affect any code at all. External style sheet, and I hate to type while I'm doing this, but I'm going to have to for the sake of the video. Created by, and don't put your first name and last name, because not the words, because your name is not your name is, in my case, Michael. Just put something in there that just documents it for me. And the spacing is not as big a deal as it may seem. The word body you'll type in, and you need the little curly brace. This is not a parenthesis. This is not a bracket. It's got to be very precise code, and this Intellisense will have a tendency to make an opening and closing. And now notice I put my little brace below the word body. The book has it beside of it. I promise you folks, especially those of you who are very nervous about your grade, I promise you it doesn't make any difference. It does not. Color, colon, navy, semicolon, and this punctuation has got to be exact. If you mess it up, your site will not work properly. Your style sheet will not work properly. Arial, comma, Helvetica, these are just styles. These are just font styles that are listed. There's a much easier way to do this than the book has, but for those of you who are more secure with book directions, I want to stick with it as much as possible. And sometimes this Intellisense, when it provides a list, wants to be helpful. For me, sometimes it's very annoying. Heading 2, again, I'm putting the little, I'm going to leave the brace there, just the opening brace, just to let you know that it's okay. And we're going to use the color, colon, Fuchsia. I hate the word fuchsia because it scares me the way it's spelled. Alright, and go down below there. A lot of times the Intellisense will help you with the typing. H3, the open brace, and the color will be maroon. A lot of times this stuff can be created without actually having to type it. Now, when you get to the end of this, again, preview what you've typed. And you don't have to do this because Mike Sisk is doing it. I'm doing this because I know as an educator what happens sometimes when I have to grade students' code in the 115 class where they have to write everything from scratch. I want you to look at this code very carefully and make sure you've typed it correctly. And I'm leaving this large on purpose. Be sure that you have a / at the beginning of the line, followed by a little asterisk, the shift of the 8, and it's also a / at the end. It is not backwards. I've done this correctly. You want to make sure that this guy right here is a brace, and I'm going to make it ridiculously large because I've seen people make mistakes and panic. It is a brace. It is not a parenthesis. It is not a bracket. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Be very careful with what you're typing right there. You want that to be a brace, and you want the other brace to be an end brace. It's the one that's curly, so be very careful with what you're typing. You want to make sure that when you're typing your attributes, such as this one, you want to make sure that this one is always a colon. You want to make sure that this one, and I'm being melodramatic, but that's kind of the way I am sometimes, but I want to make sure I'm saving you some time and some maybe frustrated moments. Be sure you've got these characters typed correctly. You're saying basically here that for the body of the document, for the text that's in the document, the color of the text will be navy and the font will be Arial. For any heading, heading 2, which was the second one in the list, the color will be fuchsia. For any heading 3s, the color will be maroon. Now what you'll do with this, once you've typed this accurately, and HTML folks is sometimes very forgiving, they'll say, okay, you typed it wrong, and since you typed it wrong, I won't tell you it's wrong. I'll just not do your page properly. That's kind of the attitude if it were a person that a CSS file has. So you'll take this document, which is now untitled, and you can go to File, Save, but you can also right-click this tab, choose the word Save. I prefer Save As personally, and be sure that this is inside the tutorial folder. You've got to be very, very careful about this. It must be inside the folder. Do not save it on the outside, emphatically. Regardless of what the book might imply. I know these things. Open it up. Don't let it scare you. You see where you've got TV and TV New? The style sheet is supposed to be inside, even if the book says something later on in the directions. You want to make it to go inside there. You want the file name to be TV Styles, and this is step number 6 on page 165, .css. I still remember a student that was a web major who violently argued with me about her file being perfect. She had spelled it CSC instead of CSS. You have to spell it properly. If you don't put that ending on there, the code will not work properly. I'm not trying to say this to scare you. I'm trying to say this to help you out. Click Save, and you'll notice if you go over here to your folder panel, you'll see that it's a part of this list. Now, it does not apply anything here to the web page. You have to take one more step because you have to attach the sheet to the document. Now, there's a real cool way to do this, which I hope the book has done, and yes, they have. You go to page 166, show the TV New tab so you see the document, and if you look over on the folder list on the left-hand side, you'll see tvstyles.css, and now you'll see why I said to put this in the folder. All you have to do is take this title and you're going to drag it and drop it inside the document, and hopefully you'll see this on the video what's happening right here. I'm going to just take my mouse, I'm going to click on it, and hopefully this is going to work for me. And do you see a little piece of paper hopefully that's attached to my mouse pointer arrow? I just drag anywhere in here, it doesn't matter where, just drag it, let go, boom. And hopefully you notice some changes here. I'm going to undo this and do this again. Look at the color of the news channel right now, and particularly look at the color of the paragraph as well. I'm going to drag it in again just to let you see it. Just grab that title, drag it in there, let go. Watch the words news channel and watch the paragraph with the border around it. Do you see what's happened? That's an H2 tag, and therefore it's a purple color. Remember we did that earlier. When you looked at the H2 application, it said all H2 text would be fuchsia. Here's each day. Here's Monday. And notice that all the H3 tags are a maroon color. That's because of this code right here. So see, with that one sheet, you were able to change everything. The body of the document, the part that didn't have special tags on it, the color is navy and the font is Arial. Notice that the color of your text, even the ones with the peach boxes, the color of all the text inside the body of the document is blue now. And it's because of that CSS style sheet. Now, how did that work? It's because if you look at the code, and I'm going to split the screen so you can see both. If you look at the code, what happens at the very top of the screen, you'll see a special statement here. You may not be able to see it on the video, but you can see it on your code. It's got a special statement called a link. The name of the sheet is tvstyles.css, and this other is just standard. You're saying that you have linked or you've connected or associated this style sheet with the web page. And if you had 10 web pages here, you could drag and drop this file on all those web pages. The beauty about it is this, and I'm going to show you this application now just to let you play with it. I'll change it back, I promise. Let's say I wanted the color of the H2 tags to be yellow. I could change it to yellow and then save it, and look at what happens. See how it changed to yellow? With one change to that CSS style document, you can change as many pages as you want to. I'll make it fuchsia again. Oh gosh, I hope I spelled this right. F-U-S-H-C-I-A. I hope that's spelled correctly. Save this, and I hope I did this right. I think I did not. Let me spell this correctly. I think it's F-U-C-H. I think I spelled it wrong. C-H-S-I-A. And my headphones are about to fall off my head, folks, with this recording, so hopefully this is going to behave for you. Let me save this one more time. I just did this on the side just to let you see how a CSS style sheet works. Great. Now, you understand how this works now. Alright, if you'll go over now to page 168, and we're getting close to finishing this chapter. And we're going to go over to the Manage Style tab. Now, if you go over to the far right in that panel, the Manage Style is there. Notice that now I have the current page, that's the web page, that has the styles that we used in the last video exercise. And now we have the tvstyles.css. Remember now that we have two documents associated with this website. One is the CSS style sheet, and one is the web page itself. And it's got the different attributes or the different tags, some that we invented like # footer and dot border, and some that are standard like body, h1, h2, h3. Notice that they're there. If I click the options button that drops down, you'll have something where you can categorize them in different ways. Right now they're categorized by order, and that's the order of the web pages. If I choose categorize, sorry, Windows 8 does these crazy things. If I choose categorize by type, notice how the list changes. Instead of showing the list of them, it divides them up. For example, notice that the elements in the current page, H1 and P, those are standard HTML words. The classes, which always begin with a period, have the green circle. The IDs, which begin with the #, are in the reddish color. And you can categorize them that way. If you do categorize by order, you'll have them grouped just by the web page and not subdivided. You can even transfer styles to web pages. It's very easy to do that. I'm on page 170 now. I'm just jumping ahead because the other is just information for you to look at that hopefully I've already talked about with you. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to look at the code view. I'm leaving this as split right now, but if you go in and you look at the definitions at the top of the code, notice that, remember we had a special definition for H1 that we did earlier in the last video. We have one for p.intro, one for #footer, and one for dot border. Just to show you an application that you can do here, and I think they did this slightly differently. They wanted to have both pages showing up right here, but you can go in and you can move the style from the page to the CSS if you want to. They're just giving you an idea of how you can do that. And I think had I made this so you can see both pages at one time, you could do this. I think if I were to hold the control key on top of this tab, I'm not sure if I can do this or not. I might. It's a little bit tricky on the video to do this. You're somehow supposed to be able to see both sheets at one time, and I'm having a little trouble with this personally on the video because I'm dealing with this tilting headset, some reading glasses, and all kinds of distractions right here. So I'll see what I can do here. Okay, I'm going to move to TV styles, hold the control key down. There are other ways to do this. I'm just trying to match the book as closely as I can for the exact words people. Alright, that one's open. And I'm not sure what's going on right here. Anyway, I'll show you my method of doing this particular part of the exercise. It's not very hard at all. If you go to page 170, you can actually take the border, and I'm just going to do it this way. It should work just fine. I'm going to select the text starting with the period border. I'm just going to do like I do in Word, and I'm going to do a cut and paste. I think that'll work just fine. Just cut that out and go to the tvstyles.css and just paste it somewhere. I'm not sure where the book is putting it. You can put this anywhere you like. It really doesn't matter. As long as it's in the list, it's perfectly fine. And you can drag all those styles in there. If you figure out how to do this with the rest of the book, you can. You're basically going to take all the styles that are in tv.new and you're going to move them over. And you can take all these and do that if you want to. So I'm just going to take all of them. Heading 1, p.intro, #footer. And I'm just going to cut and paste these and put them in the TV styles document. What they're showing you here basically, ladies and gentlemen, is that you can have the styles at the beginning of the web page, or you can put them all in the style sheet. The difference here is if you have them in the web page as I did originally, what happens is that those styles can only apply to that one page. If you put them all inside the CSS document, then you can apply them to as many web pages as you want to make for this site. And then you can save them. Now, you may see some changes to these pages, and if you do, don't worry so much about that right now. I think you'll still be fine. And the reason they've not changed, remember that when you have linked the web page, sorry about that, when you've linked the CSS sheet to the web page, those styles will still be intact. Now I want to see if you remember how to preview this web page on the internet. You just hit the F12 key, or you can go to File and choose Preview in Browser, and that will allow you to look at the web page in preview mode before you actually upload it to the internet permanently. And everything is still there. Notice that you still got the H1 headings, the characteristics for the introductory paragraph, the blue color for the body of the document, etc. And this is all I need to do right now as far as this chapter is concerned. If you want to go into page 173, there's a section there on 173, and I'm not discouraging you from doing that at all. Please understand that up front. There's a section there that is called Running a CSS Report. Basically, this is a way for you to check your CSS report and see if you have any syntax errors. Did you leave out any colons or semicolons? Did you put a parenthesis instead of a brace? It's a way for you to check to make sure that your pages are accurate. And basically what you want to do for me when you finish this exercise, you want to go ahead and close this all out. I'll close this particular web page. I'm back in Expression Web. Go ahead and close the site. You can go to Site, click Close, and mine's already saved. It will remind you if you haven't saved it. And then what you want to do is to find your particular folder that has your website in there. And I'm going to find mine. Thank you for bearing with me as I look for it. And I'm going to show you, just for security purposes, how you would upload this to your Blackboard account. Thank you for bearing with me, because literally right now I've got so much junk on here I can't find my site, and I appreciate you bearing with me. I believe it's right here. Alright, mine is right here. There's my tutorial. I'm going to try to make this a large icon so you can see it. There it is right there, and you see my contents that are located there. Now I'm going to go into Blackboard as a student, and hope I've still got my student account set up right here. I'm going to go in as a student, not as an instructor, so that I have a similar screen to what yours does. And I'm going to go to my Web 210 class. I'm in several classes because I teach 4 different web classes. And I'm going to go into this assignment. You've done this before. I go to Assignments. I go to the HTML book assignments, and I'm looking at Tutorial Chapter 3. Whoops, I went to the wrong course. Sorry. I just did 210. My apologies. Let me go. Sorry about that. Let me go to Web 140, which is this class. I've got 4 different web classes, and they're all kind of running together right now. 140 and 210 are the ones that have the book issues right now, and I appreciate your patience so much, folks. Go under Assignments. This should look much better. I'll go to where you submit your assignment, and that's going to be Expression Web Book Assignments. And here's Chapter 3, Slightly News Hour. I want to show you a little trick so you'll understand this. Alright, I'm going to attempt to upload my file. So when I click Browse My Computer, it's going to make a little noise. It's okay. I'm going to browse my computer, and I'm going to find my folder that I'm using. Yours may have a different name, and that's perfectly okay. Let me see if I can find where mine is, because again, I'm being forgetful as I get older as far as where my folder is, and you guys are awesome bearing with me. Thank you so much. There's some of my videos, and I will find this. I promise you I will. Let's see if I can find where this. Yeah, here we go. There I am right there. Now, if you remember from before, my information is inside that tutorial folder, but if I double click that, or if I try to open it to put it in Blackboard, it won't let me do that. It will only let you look at the pages, and you cannot send them individually. What you have to do before you send it to me on Blackboard is you've got to take that folder and you've got to zip it, because the computer just thinks you're trying to set up an individual file. So just right click it and use whatever you use. In the typical PC computer world, you just click Send To and choose Compress Zip Folder, and it will make one with a zipper on it. You see it right here. it says tutorial. I don't really care what it's named, but it will look like that. That's the one you're going to send to me. So when you go into Blackboard and you browse your computer, you're going to look for the one. Let me go back to desktop because that's where mine happens to be located. And you're going to go in here and find that zipped folder, and then I'm capable of unzipping it with no problem whatsoever. So let me make sure I find this puppy again. I did this before. I'm forgetting stuff, like I said, folks, really quick because I'm like your lives. We have so much on us right now. Sometimes it's just easy for us just to plain out and out just forget what we're doing, and I'm bad about that lately. There's my zip folder right there. Yours may have a zipper or a Z on it, but see, when I click that one, it's happy. There it is right there, and I would just go down and submit it. But it's got to be submitted as a zip folder, and then you're set up. Okay? Hopefully these videos, and particularly this last one, has helped you out. And if you have any questions, please contact me.